Nice date. So, what are we? Well, I have an ex I'm not over.
I made a run of videos that depict a past I haven't actually explained on my channel, and I've decided that time has come to a close and I should finally foretell the real explanation of what happened to the relationship depicted on my channel. I also have some future updates that are critical with the tie-in to this video depicting the past, so I hope you guys all get ready for the real lore dump of my life. 10 minutes of it.
This is me really young. I went to a new school, I thought the curriculum was cool, and the people were cool. Really cool. I wasn't there for long, but this is how I met
Amber, who is a place name because of a cat I owned when I was little and shipped with the main character cat I played with named Kidder.
The last day hit at his school, and he made a difference, saying, "Till next time," because we wrote emails on a slip of paper to stay in contact. And that's how we became a thing. Oh, hand-holding's new. I better not wash my hands now that we've done this. So over at my school, there were some funny labels we had for certain social circles. First one was Sunset. Even if these people didn't surf, they lived with surfers in town. They were all sun-kissed and handled attention well, and lived in a town called Sunset. They were mostly in honors classes. I'm gonna call these kinds of people geeks. Second was Mormons. We had a university nearby where many children of professors lived, and since they were also in honors classes, they were geeks as well. Then there were the other type of Mormons, Jack Mormons, also in my honors classes, and quite geeky. While they mingled well with the other groups, Jack meant that they swore and had foul humor. They were religious, but not the same devotion to religion, so I tried my best to stay away from that category. Amber, being from outside of our school, was none of those categories, and I guess I really admired that lack of affiliation. I also imagine he liked my lack of connection to his classmates, and I'd never really know what that meant. But I definitely envied his entire friend group. I felt like I fit in. However, I lived really far away, but my dad still worked near Amber, so maybe, just maybe, we could stay together. My dad was never around because of his work, though. I will say my dad regretted that he was never around, but we enjoyed our youth, and I want my dad to know that I do care. The problem was, what wasn't being said whenever I would bring Amber to my house. Do your parents like me? Despite my explanation and hope that my parents did, not much engagement happened with my side of the family, and I couldn't even invite him as often to my place either. We did find impactful ways to bond over the distance, but when it came to driving, my parents can drive. Take me to work with you. Take me shopping with you. Teach me how to drive. Since my parents can't drive me, I can catch a bus. My parents never offered that I take the bus, but if that bus didn't exist, I'd probably never see Amber. At the school separate from Amber's, I also was a wallflower. I wasn't involved with all the groups, and it definitely impacted my anxiety. But instead of doing something about it, I'd observe all of the other students, and I imagine it didn't come off well. Definitely gave me more anxiety. Throughout all of this, I would often feel like one of my cat toys. I know it's strange, but Kat's name was Kidder, and because she smiled no matter what hit her, it felt relatable. I was always smiling in high school, even though I was anxious. And when my parents were speaking with me about Amber, I felt like I had to smile as well. So smiling is really relatable with this toy. Isn't that right, Kidder? You smile and... Oh boy, I'm crying again. So senior year, I had 2 competitions coming up in one day. Second competition, I'd get to see Amber at. It was a swim practice. We had gotten so good at seeing each other that by then it was basically every other week. That's when my dad called in a meeting right before these 2 events. He said I couldn't compete unless I broke up. What? No. This is where I reveal a large factor in what actually seemed to get in the way of my relationship. Religion. Amber was a good person without religion, with good morals, and he even believed that there was a God out there. My parents were under the concern that I was going to leave religion because of him, not that he wasn't religious. Even though I made my point clear that I didn't want to break up, the meeting continued. For 5 hours. It felt counterproductive. Like, the longer I wasn't sleeping, the worse my competition would go the next day, and who knew if I was even allowed to go? It got so late and so dire that at one point I tried to run out of the house. When I finally was allowed to leave and sleep, I didn't know if I was going. I slept in my clothes. My mom offered to drive around 5 a.m. It was a very quiet drive, but I was able to compete on about 3 hours of sleep once I got there. For the second event, I had to change into my swimming suit, and I noticed the place my dad grabbed me when I ran away had firm, dark bruises. Hey, is everything okay? Oh, yeah, everything's fine. I really didn't want Amber to know what happened when he showed up. I was already trying to make my family and him get along, and I was still just so desperate for that I prioritized that over what he should really know about my family. On the topic of religion, one other moment stuck out to me. A classmate of his at his school sung a song I'd never heard.
Take me to church, like the dog at the shrine of your lies.
The song ended, and everyone acted normal, but I struggled to catch a moment to express my own impressions of the song before the moment was gone.
That song, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next one. Wait, he said that so lightly. That's when I knew it was odd for me to feel flustered. We continued the relationship for a lot of college. It was halfway through my degree that I got 2 letters in the mail. One was a letter from Amber, and one from my parents. Amber's letter said he loved how much I cared for my family. My parents' letter said to stop dating him. The contrast of these 2 letters is truly what initiated my breakup with him. It was that I, even as a college student, still couldn't bridge the gap between my family and love interest. The breakup was easy because my family had just barely moved to Australia. I used that as leverage because we couldn't see each other as much. I really didn't even want to tell my family we broke up, but I was single, and therefore I tried to date others. The problem was I'd visit home and face enormously haunting memories. I wasn't letting myself think about the past, and every crowd
Had me think that Amber was in it.
You're just at the airport. He's not gonna be here. Maybe he coincidentally had a trip today. I haven't talked to him in years. I wouldn't know. Plus, everyone has dark hair just like him. It's scaring me. I finally fessed up to my parents. I had left religion. It was the one thing they didn't want me to do. And what did I do next? Okay, now I finally cry. What the heck?
When I met up with Amber,
After everything that had happened, he handled it all super well. I think at this point, the real issue was me. I kept having flashbacks about our past relationship. Oh no. Not another flashback I haven't thought of in 5 years. Well, I've been waiting at the airport for a while. I guess if you got here on time, this would have been more special. We gotta check in right now. The plane can't wait forever. Well, we'll talk all summer even though you're gone, right? Right. To be fair, reliving those memories might have been the healthiest thing for me. I was under the impression that if I never felt love like that again, then at least those memories would be something I'd like. I was also reconnecting with tons of other people, and that included my old friends from both high schools. Oh my goodness, one of my closest friends. I haven't seen you since I moved. I just wanted to say before we have any other discussion
that I treated you and Amber so
horribly back then. After so long, you have that as your first thing to say? Well, I don't think you knew this, but I've regretted it this entire time. This is the most unexpected thing I could have expected. So now we're back at the present. I've talked about some of the hardest things that I dealt with in a relationship that's finally over, and I'm hanging out with friends who don't share the same regrets as me.
What I'm trying to say is, there's lots of ways that I can use the past to get over this, but one of the ways I thought would be most beneficial is to use this entry in my videos as a diary, to kind of log the past, present, and future with all of you. Because this is the most significant kind of crisis I've dealt with, and experiencing it alone is especially hard. So hearing your feedback is going to be part of the journey. This will probably be the deepest story I tell, with all the others being a little more sugar-coated, but I hope you understand that I appreciate you guys enough to tell you the details. And thank you for sticking along.